Hey English learners, welcome back to the EPHQ podcast, your English podcast for daily life English, real conversations, and easy English listening practice.
This is your space for learning English the natural way, through authentic conversations about topics that actually matter in your life.
I'm Alex.
And I'm Sophia. Alex, I want to share something that's been on my mind recently. Yesterday, I was watching two people handle the exact same difficult situation in completely opposite ways.
Oh, really? What kind of situation? And how were their reactions different?
They both got rejected from a job they really wanted. One person immediately started making excuses and talking about how unfair everything is. The other person asked for detailed feedback and started planning their next steps.
Wow, that's such a stark contrast. Same external situation, completely different internal responses. What do you think made the difference?
That's exactly what I've been thinking about. It wasn't their background, their skills, or their circumstances. It was something much more fundamental about how they approach challenges in general.
Something fundamental about their approach to challenges. That sounds like it could make or break someone's success in life. Are we talking about attitude?
Attitude is part of it, but this goes deeper. It's like a complete mental operating system that determines whether obstacles become stepping stones or roadblocks.
A mental operating system. I love that analogy. So, listeners, what do you think? What kind of mental programming separates people who thrive under pressure from those who crumble when things get tough?
While you're considering that, here's our quick reminder. If this kind of natural English conversation is helping you learn, hit that subscribe button and join our EPHQ family.
And don't forget to like this episode if you want more real-world English lessons that actually teach you something valuable about life.
Remember, you don't need to catch every single word to benefit from this. Just listen, absorb, and let your English improve naturally while you discover something that could change how you think.
Exactly. The best learning happens when you're engaged and interested, not when you're stressed about perfect comprehension.
All right, Alex, you've got me completely curious. What's this mental operating system you're talking about? Today, we're exploring the winner's mindset.
The winner's mindset.
Yes, it's the psychological framework that turns setbacks into setups for comebacks, problems into possibilities, and pressure into performance.
That sounds incredibly powerful. I can already tell this conversation is going to change how people think about challenges.
We're going to break down what winner's mindset actually looks like in daily life, why most people struggle to develop it, and the specific mental habits you can start practicing today to think like someone who consistently achieves their goals.
So our listeners will improve their English vocabulary while learning the thought patterns that separate high achievers from people who give up when things get difficult.
Let's start with the core question. What does winner's mindset actually look like when you see it in action?
Sophia, when I think about winner's mindset, I picture someone who treats every experience as data rather than as a judgment about their worth or potential.
That's such a precise way to describe it. For me, winner's mindset shows up in the questions people ask themselves. Instead of, why does this always happen to me? They ask, how can I use this to become stronger?
Like when someone's business fails, and instead of seeing it as proof they're not cut out for entrepreneurship, they immediately start analyzing what worked, what didn't, and how they can apply those lessons to their next venture.
Exactly. Winner's mindset is about ownership without self-blame. Taking responsibility for your response to situations while not beating yourself up for being human and making mistakes.
I think winner's mindset also means being more interested in growth than in looking good. You'd rather be challenged and learn something new than stay comfortable and stagnate.
Yes, that growth orientation is crucial. And listeners, take a moment to reflect on this. When you face a setback, what's your first internal reaction? That reaction reveals a lot about your current mindset patterns.
It's not about judging yourself if your reaction isn't perfect. It's about becoming aware so you can start making small adjustments.
So, Alex, here's something I'm curious about. How is winner's mindset different from just being confident? Don't confident people also handle challenges well?
That's a really important distinction. Confidence is often based on past success or feeling good about your current abilities. It can actually be fragile because it depends on external validation or circumstances.
Right. Someone might be confident when things are going well, but fall apart when they face serious challenges or failures. Winner's mindset is much more stable and resilient.
Winner's mindset is confidence in your ability to figure things out, learn what you need to learn, and adapt to new situations, regardless of your current skill level or recent results.
Perfect explanation. It's meta-confidence. Confidence in your capacity for growth rather than confidence in your current capabilities.
And that makes it much more powerful because it doesn't depend on everything going perfectly. In fact, challenges actually strengthen winner's mindset instead of threatening it.
Now, here's the key question. If winner's mindset is so valuable, why don't more people naturally develop it?
I think one major obstacle is how we're taught to think about intelligence and ability. Many people grow up believing that talent is fixed and that struggling with something means you've reached your limit.
Absolutely. That fixed mindset makes people avoid challenges because they're afraid that struggling will expose their inadequacy. But winner's mindset understands that struggle is where growth happens.
Another big obstacle is our relationship with failure. Society often treats failure as something shameful rather than as valuable information, so people become afraid to take risks or try new things.
And then there's the instant gratification culture we live in. Winner's mindset requires patience with the process and trust that consistent effort will compound over time. But we're surrounded by messages promising quick fixes and overnight success.
Social media makes this even worse because we're constantly comparing our behind-the-scenes struggles with everyone else's highlight reels. It's hard to maintain winner's mindset when it feels like everyone else has it easier.
So, how do we actually develop winner's mindset in practical terms? Let's talk about specific strategies you can implement starting today.
First strategy, reframe failure as feedback.
This is probably the most important mental shift. Instead of seeing unsuccessful attempts as evidence of your limitations, you start viewing them as valuable data that guides your improvement.
When something doesn't work out, instead of thinking, "I'm not good at this," you ask, "What can I learn from this experience? And what would I adjust next time?"
This completely changes the emotional experience of setbacks. Instead of feeling defeated, you feel curious and motivated to apply what you've discovered.
Second strategy, focus on process over outcomes.
This doesn't mean you don't care about results. It means you understand that obsessing over outcomes often creates anxiety that actually hurts your performance.
If your goal is to improve your English, instead of constantly worrying about how fast you're progressing, you focus completely on today's study session, today's conversation practice, today's listening exercise.
Winner's mindset trusts that excellent processes, consistently applied over time, naturally lead to excellent outcomes. But when you focus too much on the end result, you often neglect the daily actions that create that result.
Third strategy,
Embrace appropriate challenges.
People with winner's mindset don't avoid difficult situations. They deliberately seek out challenges that stretch their abilities because they understand that growth only happens outside your comfort zone.
The key is choosing appropriate challenges, difficult enough to promote growth, but not so overwhelming that they create panic or paralysis.
Each time you successfully navigate a challenge, your confidence grows, not because it was easy, but because you proved you can handle difficult things and emerge stronger on the other side.
Now let's look at winner's mindset in real-life scenarios so you can see exactly how this thinking works in practice.
Imagine you're learning a new skill, like coding, and after weeks of study, you attempt your first real project, and it fails completely.
Scenario 1, you feel frustrated and embarrassed. You decide that coding isn't for you and that you should stick to what you already know. You avoid programming for months because you don't want to face that feeling of incompetence again.
Scenario 2. You feel disappointed but intrigued. You carefully analyze what went wrong. Was it a logical error, insufficient planning, or gaps in your knowledge? You research the specific problems you encountered and design targeted learning to address those gaps.
In the second scenario, the failure becomes a personalized curriculum that tells you exactly what to study next. Instead of being a reason to quit, it becomes the roadmap for your improvement.
Here's another scenario many people face. You start a side business with high hopes, but after 6 months, you've made no profit, and you're questioning whether it was a mistake.
You see this as confirmation that you're not entrepreneurial material. You close the business and tell yourself you should stick to traditional employment because you're not cut out for the uncertainty of business ownership.
Scenario 2. You treat these 6 months as market research. You analyze which activities generated the most interest, what feedback you received from potential customers, and which strategies showed the most promise.
You might discover that your product idea was solid, but your marketing approach needed adjustment, or that there's demand for a slightly different version of what you're offering. You use this information to pivot and improve rather than to give up entirely.
That's winner's mindset in action, converting setbacks into strategic information rather than personal judgments about your capabilities.
Let's address some common obstacles people face when trying to develop winner's mindset.
Obstacle 1. The perfectionism trap. Many people think winner's mindset means never making mistakes or always performing flawlessly. This creates impossible pressure and actually prevents learning.
Perfectionism is actually the enemy of winner's mindset because it makes you afraid to try anything where you might not excel immediately. But all mastery is built through imperfect attempts that gradually improve over time.
Obstacle 2. Impatience with progress. We live in a culture of instant everything, and people expect to see dramatic changes immediately. When results don't come quickly, they often abandon the approach before it has time to work.
Winner's mindset requires understanding that meaningful change happens gradually. Focus on celebrating small improvements and trust that consistent effort compounds over time.
Before we wrap up, let's review some key vocabulary so you can use these concepts in your own English conversations.
Let's start with our main concept, winner's mindset. This refers to the psychological approach that enables consistent achievement through challenges. It involves viewing setbacks as learning opportunities and maintaining confidence in your ability to grow and adapt.
For example, developing a winner's mindset helped her turn career obstacles into stepping stones. Or, winner's mindset isn't about avoiding failure, it's about learning faster from every experience.
Another important word, framework. A framework is a basic structure or system that supports and organizes your thinking or approach to something. Winner's mindset provides a framework for interpreting and responding to challenges.
For example, she needed a new framework for thinking about rejection that would help her stay motivated during her job search.
Let's discuss compound. This means building on itself over time, where small effects accumulate to create much larger results, like interest, earning interest in investments.
For example, the compound effects of daily practice dramatically improved his language skills over the course of a year.
One more. Pivot. To pivot means to change direction or strategy based on new information or changing circumstances, while keeping your overall goal the same.
For example, when their original business model wasn't working, they decided to pivot toward a more sustainable approach.
If you want to practice these words, create sentences using them in the comments below. It's excellent practice for incorporating advanced vocabulary into your English.
So today, we've explored winner's mindset, that essential way of thinking that transforms obstacles into opportunities and challenges into chances for growth.
We discussed how it differs from simple confidence, why it's challenging to develop, and specific strategies for cultivating this mindset through daily mental practices.
We talked about reframing failure as feedback, focusing on process over outcomes, and embracing appropriate challenges that stretch your capabilities and build resilience.
Remember, you don't need to transform overnight. Start by noticing your current thought patterns when you face difficulties, and gradually shift toward more empowering interpretations.
Every time you choose learning over self-criticism, process over outcome anxiety, or growth over comfort, you're building winner's mindset.
Here's your action step. What's one area of your life where you could apply winner's mindset this week? Share it in the comments below.
If this episode was valuable to you, show your support with a like and subscribe for more life-changing English conversations.
Thank you for investing in both your English skills and your personal development. These mental tools will serve you everywhere in life.
This is Sophia.
And this is Alex.
You've been listening to the EPHQ podcast, where English learning meets personal transformation.
Remember, winner's mindset isn't about being perfect. It's about getting stronger through every experience.
Your learning continues beyond this episode. Check out our other videos for more English practice and life skills you can actually use. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep developing that winner's mindset.